I spoke earlier to Sky News Washington correspondent Annelise Nielsen. Annelise, Joe Biden didn't want to cut off exports of Russian oil and gas, even though they're helping to keep Vladimir Putin's regime financially afloat. But that position now seems untenable. The public reaction to what they're seeing in Ukraine means it's going to have to change its position.
Well, not just untenable in the White House, the evidence is there that this has also got the support of Congress. We saw Nancy Pelosi say that she's happy to ban Russian oil imports into the country, and that's a pretty good indicator that it's not a palatable position to be keeping across the country. At the same time, they've negotiated a deal between Senate Democrats, House Democrats, Senate Republicans, House Republicans that she foreshadowed in her Dear Colleague letter, where they said we're going to ban Russian imports. They were going to tie it to things like kicking Russia out of the World Trade Organization, for which would actually be a pretty extraordinary move. Would allow a lot of countries to then chase Russia for tariffs that they wouldn't be allowed to otherwise. And that's stalled. And it seems that it's the White House intervening. And the best indicator of that is what we saw from Jen Psaki's press briefing today. This is when they could have announced that this had happened. Instead, we're talking about how the Biden administration, as reported by Axios, is approaching Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, and potentially even Iran, looking for oil imports. And what was really the most important takeaway from this was when asked about domestic production, there was nothing coming from the Biden administration to support that. They were saying, hey, oil companies can go and drill more if they like. They've got these permits. And that's not acknowledging any of the green tape that's already in place that's stopping them wanting to do that. It's not acknowledging the market conditions they've created where they've said, hey, we're so pro-climate change. Why on earth would these oil companies be looking to do more without some kind of incentive from the government? And it's not acknowledging the fact that oil is getting expensive. Petrol prices are way more expensive than they were this time last year, $1 a gallon more than this time last year. And not acknowledging that that well predates anything that happened in Ukraine. That was inflation. And this is a really important point that keeps getting swept under the carpet because the Biden administration says, yes, Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. Americans will wear this because they believe in democracy. Americans do believe in democracy, but that's not what started this petrol price issue. It was inflation, and that was COVID lockdowns. That was the federal government here making that decision, and they didn't have a plan to get out of it the other side.